Hello champions and future champions. Hello Chessmood family. Gabuzayn is here with you and we are beginning our daily lesson. Today's topic is very important and interesting. We are going to talk about crushing opponent's center. This means we are going to see different situations, how to take important structural decisions about the center. As we know, center is the key to the chess game. And in this position, it's white to move. Now we need to make a decision. How are we going to react? Now black is threatening to take on d4, and in these conditions, black will get very nice squares for the knight on c5 and e5 squares. We are not satisfied with this outcome, and that's why I offer you now to pause the video and think how to play here as white. Let's take a look at all of the reactions. If we now take on e5, black takes back with the pawn. Still, black is getting a very nice square on c5. We also have a good control of d5 square, but the issue is that pawn on b4 is limiting our knight, and since this square is under control, we cannot go knight to c3. That means we cannot take on e5. If now we are going to d5, it's the same story. Black gains a very good square for the knight on c5. Our pawn on c4 will be blocked. As well, black will have two pawns versus one on the queen side. For this reason, at the beginning, we have a very concrete and strong way of playing. White goes c5. Since we have pawn majority in the center, 3 versus 2, we are breaking opponent's center. Now, if black takes on c5, we play pawn takes e5. With the tempo attacking opponent's knights, black is not having now any good outposts in the center. Black here needs to go knight to g4, and in this position as white, we are also having a great move. Our pawn on e5 is now under attack. We can go bishop f4, but here black is going to castle, even though we are still having a better position. After knight g4, we have much stronger continuation. Now white goes bishop to a4, pinning this knight. This means, first of all, black cannot take on e5. Secondly, black cannot be castling now. Very quickly, we are going to bring our knight to c4 square. This knight will be thrown back with the h3 move. For this reason, after c5, black cannot take the pawn on c5. If black takes it on d4, it's even worse. Now we take pawn takes d6, and after bishop d6, white is winning a piece with e5. We have two defenders of the pawn, and if now black tries to get rid one of them with bishop f3 move, in order after queen takes f3 to take on e5. We are using the fact that our rook is located on e1 square and making an intermediate check with e takes f6. And after that, taking the bishop on f3, staying with an extra piece. For this reason, after c5, black somehow needs to ignore this and tries to play castle. Now, white is developing the knight and bringing it to d2. The thing is, structurally it's the same story in the center. Now we are threatening to play pawn takes d6, bishop d6 and knight c4, attacking the bishop, the pawn, and having a very nice play in the center. In the real game, after knight bd2, black tries to go d5, but it's going to a pawn down position. The reason black is going for this is the following. We have seen all of the possible outcomes, and in all the scenarios, because of pawn majority in the center, white was getting a great positions. In the game happened e5, knight d5, and after knight d5, knight e5 and rook e5, white is staying with a healthy extra pawn and a very nice advantage. Let's go ahead to see the next position. Here it's white to move, and specific information. By black this time is playing me. My opponent here found a very nice continuation. I offer you to pause the video and try to find it. Right now, black is attacking the pawn on e4. White can be playing bishop to d3, bishop g7 and go for a regular development in these structures. But the thing is, Black managed to get some activity on the queen side. For this reason, Black will have a nice game. Instead of going for this, in this position White plays in a very nice way, playing e5, trying to break my long pawn chain. Now the issue is the following: I'm not having nice options to go away with my knight. If I play knight to d7, this is going to be very passive, very slow. Now I will be behind in a development. Even though I still think it's better than what has happened in the game, I didn't go for this. After e5, I decided to take, because I thought that if my opponent now plays knight takes c5, I have e6 move, which I liked a lot. I thought that now knight on c5 is hanging, and after a takes b4, I can take pawn on d5, get a good center, and probably develop my pieces. Suddenly, after d takes e5, my opponent surprised me a lot. One more time I offer you to pause the video and think how to play here as white. White now plays a takes b4. Idea is the following: White is sacrificing the pawn, but after I take back, bishop e3 is happening. The long pawn chain of Black is now broken, and suddenly White gets a very strong game because of different threats on the queen side. If now it's White to move, White wants to play knight b6. Rook is under attack, and after rook a7, take on c8 and capture the rook with the bishop on e3. This is a very big threat. But the thing is that after bishop e3, I cannot go knight to d7. White here plays c5. On the next move, White goes c6, and I am having big issues related to my knight. As well, later on, White is again getting a threat of this knight b6 move. White only sacrificed a pawn, but in the opening broke my center and got this monster advantage because of strong central pawns on d5 and c5 squares. In the game, instead of going knight to d7, I went for bishop g7, tried to sacrifice some material, after knight b6, going knight g4, taking the bishop, giving away the rook, but eventually I failed to defend this position and lost in some 20 moves. Once again, with a very interesting e5 breakthrough, White is destroying my central pawn chain and getting a nice game. Let's go ahead to see the last example in this topic. In this position, it's White to move, and again we need to make a structural decision. Now, if we are going pawn to e5, Black can be closing the game with the f5 move. There is nothing special for us in this position. It's not working out well. If in this position we take on d5, Black takes back with the e-pawn, again keeping the similarity of the pawn structure, and we still have nothing special. This means we need to play differently. Now White goes f5, which is a very strong move. We are again trying to destroy opponent's pawn chain. Now Black is in front of a difficult choice. If d takes e4, knight e4 is winning, since now we are getting this d6 square for our knight. If after f5, Black takes on f5, we take e takes d5, and this time we are breaking opponent's pawn chain on the queen side. After cd5, we play knight takes b5, getting two connected passed pawns, and again this d6 square for our knight. f5 is a very strong move, and in the game Black played rook e8, trying to fight for the a file, but still, now we take on e6, knight e6, and pawn takes d5. We managed to exchange our f pawn for the one of central pawns, and this means we are getting a pawn majority in the center and on the queen side. After cd5, White is again winning with knight b5 move, and as it happened in the game, after ed5 move, Black played knight f4, but is losing after bishop h7. We are winning the second pawn, we can play d6 on the next move, and our position is absolutely winning. With the nice f5 move in the beginning, White is again breaking opponent's pawn center. Now, let's go ahead to the next position, which will be your homework for this topic. In this position, it's Black to move, and Black played f6. I'm going to ask you, what do you think about this move, and as well how to continue for White? You can share your thoughts and ideas in the comments section below. Gabuzayn was here with you. Thank you for your subscriptions, likes, and sharing this video with your friends. We appreciate it a lot. See you next time during our next daily lessons.